There's a little line in Book of Revelation which seems like a sort of a conclusion after all this touring. I've seen the world and there's no heaven and no hell. Is that positive or negative, I was wondering?
I think it's a really, well, you know what, it's just a statement. I mean...
I don't think it's positive or negative.
Yeah, I mean...
It could be either depending on what you're into.
It seems like the world is just as it is and I've discovered it because I've seen it.
I think without seeing the world, I may not have come to that exact same conclusion.
Yeah.
You know, and not seeing the world in some sort of safari way with binoculars and touring and a backpack. It's like seeing. It's more like interaction with people, and you know, it's not. I don't mean I've seen the pyramids. It means, you know, we've lived so much of a life in the last 3 years since we started touring, that you can't help but come to some conclusions. I think we learned so much about each other. You know, I thought I knew everything I could know about Jacob. We've been best friends our whole lives. And then suddenly we're in a bus together for 2 months with no escape. And, you know, you learn so much more about that person and about yourself. And some of it was great and some of it was bad. And
some of it was really bad.
Some of it was really bad, you know, and that sort of friction and confusion and the anger and the love and all of those emotions that we've all felt toward each other have really made their way onto the record. I think the record is really reflective of all of that. So it's Portamento is an album that's based in reality, whereas everything we've done up until Portamento sort of had a cinematic flair to it. It's almost like every song is a scene from a movie. There were some songs that did touch on personal issues, but overall, you know, it all was romanticized. Whereas on the new album, that doesn't really happen. It's a much more straightforward, blunt thing, and that's refreshing for us. You know?
But why that shift to a more personal narrative?
It was just, I think we got a big dose of reality, so we wanted to write about it, you know. It seemed like what was happening to us during the EP and the first album almost felt like a movie. There's like that American dream everyone talks about, you know. We moved to New York City after making this record, played some shows, and suddenly we were on the cover of magazines. You know, it was like this really weird thing that you usually just see in a movie or you read about, and it was happening to us, and we were completely confused by it, and I think it kind of built this surrealism, this sort of mindset of, you know, everything is kind of a movie. It's very dreamlike, and I think the songs and our attitudes, even how we were on stage, acting like lunatics, you know, I think it was all a direct result of what was happening to us, you know. So I think we were being really honest when we were, you know, it wasn't a personal album so much as it was just like reflecting how we were feeling at the time, and couldn't really quite get a grasp on what was happening because it was so strange. What? And now it's, you know, after traveling for a year, well, it's been 3 years of touring almost, but this last year since the album came out, it's been really intense.
But what wonders me is that you seem so down to earth about it. You don't show too much excitement about what's been happening in the last couple of years. Not in public, at least.
We're not really those type of guys, I don't think. It's just, you know, it's that type of thing where...
Well, none of this was ever a goal of ours. You know, our goal was only to make a record that we liked and that we were proud of. So everything else is like nice, but it's just a side effect.
It's exciting, but you know, if we, you know, it's just like it didn't really change.
But didn't the side effect take over?
It's just like the difference is, you know, like we're not a band that, you know, we put out a record and it does okay. It doesn't mean we're gonna spend all our time at the Soho House. You know what I mean? We're still gonna be like in our bedroom, like listening to cool old records. You know what I mean? It's just,
yeah,
our interests haven't changed. Just because you have some sort of like success, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't, you know, I think it's really sad when people change everything they do and even change what they're interested in. That's the beginning of the end as far as I'm concerned, you know. So, you know, we went into this saying this will eventually go away, so all we can do is focus on putting out great songs, and then we'll have no regrets at the end of the day.
If you're trying to live up to someone's expectations other than your own, you never can, because someone else is going to come along that had different expectations for you than that guy did, you know. So all you can do is try to follow your own sensibilities and do something that gratifies you, you know.
Yeah. But with the side effects being there now as they are, do you ever miss the time when you were just knowing nothing and writing songs together just for the sake of the songs?
To me, the side effects are very easy to ignore, you know. I mean, it's not when you're in the middle of all of it, but that's not when you're writing songs. When you're writing songs, you're alone in your room or with these jokers. So it's
when we write songs, it doesn't feel like work. I think if we you know, rented a big studio and hired a producer and an engineer and all these people to kind of make their mark on your record, you're paying all this money to do all this stuff, suddenly the whole thing starts feeling really ugly and starts to feel like work, I think. But yeah, every song we've ever recorded for this band, we've done like in my kitchen or in our bedroom, you know, and we've been doing that our whole lives. That's what we've done to survive, you know. We've had day jobs, and then at night we'd stay up all night and play around on our synthesizers and record. It's second nature to us. So maybe that's why we can make a record so quickly, because it's enjoyable. It's a really comforting thing, you know.
Kind of therapeutic, the whole process.